We're just a little northeast of Bury St Edmunds. Of Rushbrooke. Well, it's a farm estate really now. And we're coming up to a little church called St Nicholas, which has a long old history. The church was attached really to the estate of the Germain family, I believe, who had a Tudor house, which at the time was the largest Tudor house with a moat in Suffolk. It actually was used in the war for troops to stay in, but had a fire, I think, in the late 50s, early 60s, and mysteriously was... Well, the fire was mysterious, and then, without permission, it was destroyed, the house, that is. But we're left with the church, and as I say, it was the Germain family that originally had it. And the last of the Germain family was a man who died when he was 15, as he was killed in a boating accident on the Thames, when a part of the boat, a mast I think, fell on his head and killed him. That was it. Now the other interesting thing here was that in the more recent times the church belonged to the Rushbrooke family, and hence the name of this area, Rushbrooke. And a Colonel Rushbrooke did some pillaging in Belgium, and he brought back to the UK some stained glass windows, which some of them were put into the church in Naunton, and I did a video on that the other day. Anyway, let's have a look at the church. Behind here we've got some farm cottages which were built, I think they were built in the 60s, where quite often there are horses here and ponies. Absolutely beautiful, and it just helps to make this church so picturesque. Horses in the paddock there. So we've got rendering on the bottom part of the church, but flint at the top. I guess this is flint underneath. Lots of old gravestones as usual. The inevitable. Now this church was restored in the 19th century, I believe. But the last Germain that owned it died in 1692, I think it was. It's got quite a musty smell. Beautiful ceiling and arch. coat of arms. Let's have a look inside here. The thing is not real. It was for decoration, to make the organ look more impressive, I guess. It's quite a small church, very intimate. Family church, really, of an estate. Typical of the sort of churches and chapels that estates built for themselves, the family and the workers. Now this is interesting because all the pews are facing inwards. Looks a bit like the House of Commons. Maybe they had debates here. Debates on theology, I guess. I believe all of this was done in the mid to late 19th century. Ah, yeah, that's right. So the family would sit here. And we've got some interesting things here.
Moyle, third son of the said General and Isabella Moyle. Here lie the body of Major General John Moyle.
Ah, so
1738, age 64.
Ah.
And the wife.
And this guy died January 1742, aged 23. What about here? Ah, this is even older.
69 3/4.
69 3/4. Who's counting? $16.98.
Rushbrooke without an E, look.
Ah, that's interesting. Yes. Now Rushbrooke is with an E in this family and all the roads and everything around here. But that hasn't got an E. So obviously there's a lot of history here that needs researching, really. 1683. Nice marble here.
It's lovely, isn't
That's beautiful. That's a tremendous memorial, this whole piece here. Another one up there. That's
Sacred to the memory of the late Countess Dowager Darlington, who departed this life at Rushbrooke, September the 22nd, 1763. Her affectionate son, Frederick Vane, has indulged his grief in this small tribute to her memory.
Oh, that's nice. A lovely stained glass window. Beautiful blue coming through. In here,
Died 1722, age 69. And
that's a beautiful. They put some fantastic memorials up. See, it's still Rushbrooke then, because the Rushbrooke family obviously had it from the beginning of the 18th century. Another, oh, here he is.
Hmm.
Only,
New life body of Mr. Thomas Germain. That's not a Rushbrooke, that's a Germain.
this is a Germain, so this was the first family
A
then.
hopeful youth, the only and most dearly beloved son of Thomas Lord Germain and Mary, his wife, who most unfortunately lost his life by the accidental fall of a mast on the 27th day of December 1692.
Ah, so this is it. This is the last
He was
Germain.
15 years
He was
and
15 years
26
old
days.
and he's now lying here. So he died. He was the last of the Germains.
In 1692.
Yeah. We'll have a look at the graveyard because I think there's some graves out there from the Rushbrooke family. This is the graveyard, and it's not quite as well groomed as some of them. Interesting how this church was rendered, and the rendering has obviously come off in areas. But the graves look very old. This looks much older than some of them. This must be the area for the Rushbrooks, eh?
Rushbrooke, yeah.
Ah,
Robert Wyndham Germain Rushbrooke. So there's a connection between the two families, then there must be.
oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So the two families had some connection, perhaps, of marriage, I guess. When was that one?
That was he died in 1908 and in 1933.
Lovely view of the church here. Very serene looking.
Lots of them.
Oh, that's fairly recent.
That's very recent. This is 2012.
Ah, so they're getting older as we go down.
1896. That's born.
Oh,
Died in Perth, Australia.
died in Perth, Australia.
1984.
Ah,
That's the wife of.
that's interesting.
Oh, he was born in Australia. Neil John Rushbrooke, born Australia in 1895. Died in Cambridge, England, 1962.
Oh, so these are all fairly recent Rushbrooke people. What have we got here?
He's called John Henry Joseph Breaker.
Oh, that's not a Rushbrooke.
No.
Actually falling over a bit. Who's this? This is...
Thomas Ellesmere.
Hmm.
Died September 1902. 34 years old.
34 years old, 1902. That gravestone looks older than that.
It does, doesn't it?
And it doesn't look very safe. I don't think we'll stand this side of it. It's funny, these are leaning this way and some are leaning the other way. There's one here, look. This one's fallen over and been broken, unfortunately, which is sad. And this one here. The graveyard is surrounded by some beautiful old trees that are a few hundred years old. I can hear church bells in the distance ringing from another church. As it's Sunday today, there's no service here, but there are obviously services taking place at other churches in the area. And lovely view of that flint again. That's the end with the stained glass window with the beautiful blue light coming through. The moss and everything has grown on most of these, you can't read them. This one is 2000, born in 1934. The rendering again, an evidence of a doorway perhaps there, I guess, or something attached to it, but it looks like that was a doorway. And obviously this church was either rebuilt or repaired using bricks, or was built originally with some brickwork. Probably built with brickwork, I suppose, but though I'm certainly not sure, but that's been there some time. Looks almost like it's Tudor bricks. Ah, now that's pretty sad, really, isn't it? There's somebody a little family of people who were buried, and they had the little fence metal surround, and now all the trees and weeds have grown up. God, this is an impressive lot as well. Very impressive. This doesn't look that old. It's pretty sad, really. That's an impressive plot. Big trees, but plenty of weeds here. This church sits in such a picturesque position. The surrounding area is just beautiful. It's clouded over a bit today.